Yeah.
We're good. All right, we're set.
So launch us.
All right. So we are here with Cedric Louissaint.
Louissaint.
Okay.
There you go.
And
He got it right. Well,
Christian Lohsen. Talking about fighting and shit.
All right, so both guys just got done with the IKON Jorge Masvidal's IKON Fighting Championships live on UFC Fight Pass. Just about 2 weeks ago now, a little over that.
I think
Maybe a week and a half,
Yep.
somewhere in there.
about a week and a half. Yeah.
And for both guys, relatively short notice. What, 3 weeks or less?
Yep. It's about 3 weeks, right?
I think 3 weeks for you. I had longer time.
Yeah.
So, but ultimately speaking, though, we had a couple things that happened for the fight. So, for Cedric, this was your pro debut. So, what was that like? Getting the opportunity? Most people don't even get that opportunity to go pro on a card of that nature, which on paper looked like it was the best pro card, not the UFC in the state of Florida. Period.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think there was a better pro card that wasn't a UFC card.
Yeah, honestly, it was a surreal opportunity. Just very thankful to even gotten in. Appreciate, Christian put me in there. It's honestly felt it was a dream come true. Like I said, when I was there, I was like, just felt surreal, just happy to make it all come to fruition, all the hard work we've been putting in. Just feels like it's just another step in the road towards the journey.
And then you had an opponent that on paper had some pretty heavy accolades that they were riding on. Penn State boxing champion for college, things of that nature, his training partners and everything else. What was that like when you were first looking at not only that you were getting offered up a big matchup on a big card, like I said, arguably one of the best cards in pro MMA in the state of Florida. But then looking at your opponent and to be honest, feeling like you're the feeder, like you're supposed to make him look good.
Yeah, when I learned, heard the name, and just heard, then Christian told me he's a boxing national champion. I said, I'll look into it. And then I watched one match and I got excited. I was like, he's not ready, and he's not ready. And I don't care who he's training with, whatnot. He's not ready for what I'm going to bring to the table. I felt like the one fight, MMA fight, was not enough for him to even be stepping in the cage with me, especially if that at a pro level. I get that he may have had 50 club boxing matches at Penn State, but I've trained with killers, so I wasn't afraid of it. Yes, at first I was a little bit nervous, but then I reassured myself with the hard work that we're putting in.
Well, because I remember, I think it was the day you actually signed your contract. You were walking down the hallway going, they ain't feeding him, they're feeding me.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yep, that was an affirmation that I've told myself every single day ever since I took that fight and made it came to fruition. Because I knew what it was. I knew that he was gonna be the next pony boy on that team. They all riding the same clout train. And I felt like just having that opportunity, I couldn't pass it up. A lot of people may have thought it wasn't a smart fight to have taken for my first fight. But I wanted to test myself and show that, I have what it takes.
And the crowd was insanity for your fight. There was a lot of Team Cedric out there.
Yes, ma'am. Now for you, Christian, you same thing, relatively short notice, about 3 weeks.
No, I had like 5 or 6.
Okay, never mind. Because I don't remember you having a named opponent for 5 weeks.
No, named I probably haven't for like 4, but I
Yeah.
knew I was going
So-
to be fighting on the card.
Right.
Right. Now, you get the call, co-main event,
Mhm.
UFC Fight Pass. What was that first initially like, knowing that you were going to get an opportunity to be co-main on, again, what was stacking up to be? I mean, as we were looking at it, as they started announcing matchups, we were like, holy crap, this is one of the best cards in Florida. I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
one of the best cards in Florida.
Yeah, no, it was cool being the co-main. Like I've been the fight before the co-main quite a few times. So knowing I was going as the co-main, just it was gonna be a good night. I like fighting later on cards anyways. I always do my best when I have time to just sit and enjoy the environment of the fights, watch some fights, and wait a little bit before I go. Hate being first or early on the card. I don't get to settle into the environment quite yet.
Right.
I think I'm the opposite. I think I like going first.
Ah.
Just to get the nerves out right away and just hang out.
Now,
But
officially, you were 4th
Yes.
on the card. You had a couple fights in front of you, but you're still relatively early on the card, which as a corner, as a coach, I appreciate having at least 1 or 2 before you go. I don't mind you being early on the card or late on the card or like. I'll just be honest, I hate being the first fight. I like somebody else gets to be rushed by the athletic commission. Somebody else gets to be.
that was Reggie this time.
Yeah.
He showed up late. He showed up like what? Like 20 minutes before the
I know.
fight.
And they were rushing him to get his hands wrapped. Then there's the stress of, if he's not ready, second fight's going to roll first, things of that nature. And to be honest, that's the side of it that I don't like getting caught up into, especially because we've done a UFC Fight Pass card before, and we know that push come to shove, they will bump a fight because they got to stay on schedule. But that first fight, I always feel like whomever's running the back is never quite on the ball like they should. And first fight always tends to get caught a little bit off guard. And so at least when first fight's in the cage and you're even second fight, now you have a timing that you can anticipate. Because I can watch that fight, second round, third round, they're now announcing it. All right, now I know. Now what was that like? Again, pro debut. And you're watching the guys in front of you. You're watching like Reggie just go out there and smash.
Yeah,
And
when I seen that, I was like, it was perfect. He set the tone. It was like, man, I'm gonna go out there and do it. I seen, the ground and pound was the game plan. I didn't get the finish like how I wanted. Had a big adrenaline dump at the end of the first round. If you go back and watch, I asked Dan, I said, did I win the fight after the first round? He said, no, second round,
But
go
be
your
hon-
corner. And I
but
was
to
like,
be honest though, I mean, you were deep. His hand was raising up.
oh, he was gargling.
And to be honest, the volume level inside the arena, it was difficult to know. I mean, time was very close. We knew we were in the last 10 seconds, very close to truly understand. When he reached in to put hands on you, was that him stopping the fight or is that the bell? Hard to understand. The hype of the crowd, everything else, plus all at the same time, they only have one door to the cage. So weird. So I'll be honest with you, I'm not even paying attention to what's happening in those last 10 seconds because we're staging to go to the door. So when it's going on, I mean, I didn't even get to see that last exchange when you had him in the rear naked choke and his hand comes up and he does almost tap. I didn't get to see any of that because in that last 10 seconds, I'm trying to hustle the athletic commission to get me to that door.
Yeah.
I got to see because I wasn't hustling.
Right,
I was
right,
on the
right.
outside. This man was hanging with his hand like this for 5 seconds. Just,
I was like, yeah, that was it was very unfortunate for me, but I felt like I still grinded it out, especially, a lot of people, you guys know, I just got done recovering from being sick right before the fight. So,
yeah, you weren't even like in the gym the week before the fight because you didn't want to get anyone else sick or like get me sick before the fight.
But you didn't get to show the full reins of Cedric during that.
Oh,
fight,
everything. I
which
mean,
was awesome. You got to show your striking, you got to show your wrestling, you got to show your submissions,
You got to
your
show
ground and pound.
reversals and escapes, things of that nature.
So
Now,
what happened when you get on bottom, when you get on top? Either way, you were dominant.
right. Now, definitely it looked like you just talked about adrenaline dump at the end of the first. Now you're coming down, you're sitting on the stool, and it definitely looked like that adrenaline dump took a little toll.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I remember it vividly. I took that first swig of water and spit it right out.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, I had to. My mouth was already dry. I felt like the Sahara. I spit it out, and I was just like in my head. I'm like,
I was not ready for that.
I'm like, after.
I almost got hit.
No, I made sure.
I almost got hit.
I made sure. I turned to the left. I was like, I'm gonna make sure I don't hit you. But yeah, I was just telling myself, let's go. And honestly, I was listening to, all of you guys but just still staring at my opponent
Right.
and just trying to stare through his corner and maintain that contact on him because, I was just hearing you the day before. The only person that literally matters is him.
Right.
And I'm watching every last thing he's doing and I'm seeing his body language and I'm reading him, I went back and watched the commentary. They're talking about he looked like the fresher fighter, but to be honest, look, he was dying in there.
Yes.
Man. I heard him,
Yes.
I felt him. But
The commentating was a little up his butt.
Oh yeah, definitive. But that's what I'm saying. I mean, you could tell by the commentary, you could tell by everything else. I mean, a fight's always a fight, but they had in their mind who they thought was going to be the victor in the fight. But
it's clout, but clout ain't everything.
But you changed all of it, And then in that second round, came out a little flat, looked a little gassed, and then that's when they started to pick up on it a little bit because he steps in and you blast double him, and then one of the announcers like, but was he playing pasta? And I'm like, no, he was tired. He was tired. But
yeah, I honestly was just breathing and recharging. That's how I see. I just calming myself down, and I was sitting there breathing and recharging. And then he made the mistake of coming in rushing, and I was like, "Oh well, this is duck, take down, blast."
Then it looked like you got a second win.
Yep.
Once you got inside, got up on top.
Yep, I got that for a couple seconds and just lay on him real quick, and then that's just like turned up on him.
Looking at the video after, Masvidal looked hyped during your fight.
Oh, big time! The crowd was popping. I mean, everything else, man. It was.
I was having a heart attack.
It was exciting.
Every time you guys fight, I have a heart attack. I'm just gonna die one of these times in this fight.
Yeah, my mom says the same thing. She was gonna have a heart attack when she was there.
It's a mixture of excitement and oh shit, don't get hurt.
Yep. You never know.
Now your post-fight speech
was great.
I mean, great because you hit with a lot of energy at the end.
That was all adrenaline.
Yeah.
I went back and listened to it. I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh, I was like, I had so many people from work watching.
But you gotta think though, what's one of the highlights that they have replayed over on Instagram and everything else? It's you hopping over, hunting down Masvidal, and getting in his face and hyping it up.
I mean, for jumping over the cage.
Yeah, well, I mean, I forgot who told me that. I don't know if it was Christian or someone who told me that after you get the win, you go find Masvidal and Shaker. I know somebody told me that, and it was just in my head, and I was like, you know what? I got there and then I seen him, and I was like,
that's the clip they've been putting it out there. I mean,
that's
been getting a lot of play on their site. Is the excitement after that pop, jumping over the cage, finding Masvidal and everything else, and then the audio clips of your speech afterwards.
Yeah, I was just telling him. I told him book me again. I had something to tell you. He said I will.
And also in that moment, I mean, they show a couple audience shots panning back of the audience being hype about the fight, and things of that nature. Which
amazing.
Again, was phenomenal. I mean,
it was so cool.
So
being
now
in the audience was so cool.
And like we talked about, it doesn't matter how big the arena is. The only man that matters is the one you're fighting. That's it. There could be 20,000 people in that audience. We could go to Saitama Super Arena in Japan. There could be 80,000 people. But the only one that really matters is him. I know when I'm cornering, it's almost the same thing. I know there's other people in there, but I couldn't tell you what anybody else is talking about. I couldn't tell you what anybody else is saying. I could tell you what Christian was doing. I could tell you what Julian was doing. I could tell you what I was doing, but I couldn't tell you what anybody else in there. You guys fighting and what we're kind of talking about, but the people behind us, I mean, it's all just noise to me. I couldn't tell you any of that stuff.
Yeah, it's that tunnel vision. Yeah.
You
Because
know,
I couldn't hear anybody else. I only heard you guys. That's it.
which is good.
I heard his corner too. It's just like,
Which is good too.
yeah.
See, I barely hear shit when I'm in a fight.
He does.
Like,
Yeah. I almost like it's and it comes and goes because as I'm focusing,
Right.
it's only at the moments like where I have complete control to process everything else.
the shit I hear more often than not is my opponent's coach telling him to get up.
Yeah. That's honestly that's what I do. I hear it too. And I'm like immediately I'm like, oh, he's about to do that. Oh, I'm gonna do
Right.
I'm doing the next thing to counter that right there.
Christian's like,
Yeah.
nope, he's not getting up.
So now, just out of curiosity, has your opponent reached out to you at all after the fight, or
No, not at all.
it's not that common, but it
Yeah.
happens every once in a while.
Yeah.
Now, Christian, you cornered Cedric for
Mhm.
his fight, which is a little abnormal, because you are a coach, a fighter, probably one of the best matchmakers in Florida when it comes to knowing who fighters are, getting good matchups between people, things of that nature. So for this fight, because I remember during the pre-fight talking to the commission, you know, and saying, hey, Christian's cornering this fight. They were, I wouldn't say surprised at it, but they were like, oh, all right, you're cornering. So how's that play in when you're getting ready to fight later on that night, being able to make the first walk to the cage, cornering Cedric, having that first almost adrenaline dump already?
I feel it can, like in our case, it went well because Cedric got the win.
Right.
A lot of hype, like energy. It can have a negative effect at times if you go out corner someone, they get knocked out real quick.
Right. Now,
And then you're going back to the corner like, fuck.
now again, throwing it out there. This is
Ain't
not
gonna be me. You're thinking to yourself like, oh man, nah.
But also
But
throwing it out there.
taking that walk, like you get to go down the walk already, see the
Right.
crowd, see the hype, like you get to go on a roller coaster of emotions like you're in a fight already one time, and then you get to go back and just relax and do your thing.
Now, also, this is not the first time that you have cornered people early on a card and fought later on the card. We've done this before. So
Yeah.
this wasn't a first off, a one-off type thing.
No, and I like it. Like it gets like I like watching the fights anyways before I fight. Just being out there, getting in the energy.
Right.
Not with Cedric's fight, but with a lot of others, like when I'm leading up to my fight and I just went out and I sat and watched some of the fights off in a distance because I like reminding myself sometimes if I do start to get nervous for the fight, I go watch a couple fights and go, oh, that's right. I'm actually way better than a lot of these people that are on these cards. And I'm like, I'm fine. Because I make this whole thing in my head that like everyone on these cards are gonna be monsters. And then I go out and watch a couple and I'm like, oh, right. They're not what I'm making them out to be. And then it helps me settle in and realize I am who I think I am.
Well, I like, we did it. There was one when Schneider was fighting up in Jacksonville, where he and I watched like three or four fights before his. And we just sat there and I was like, all right, if you're red corner, what do you do here? And so we just kind of got into that mindset of watching the fights, starting to break it
Analyzing the
down. What kind of
fights.
choices would you make? And then I would switch. All right, now you're blue fighter. What are you doing from here? How are you countering this? And it I think it gets a fighter into a good state of mind, in that regard. Now, for you, the interesting part was throughout being there was the drama around the main event. The main event ended up not taking place, and you got moved from co-main to main. And then there was the rumor that the main may be back on with some. So what was that going on in your head when you started hearing about? Because I know you started feeling a little bit more excited when you're like, oh yeah, I'm main event now.
I've been main event one time in my career, my last amateur fight, and I love the feeling of being main event. It's a lot of sitting around, but I love the feeling being main event. And when I first found out, I actually went to my opponent because he was sitting out watching the fight. I was like, hey, did you hear? I think we just got moved to main event. Like, let's show out and like dapped him up because he was cool. He was a funny dude. He was having fun. But when they were coming back and they're like, well, it might be on, might be not. Like,
which was weird.
it was weird, but it didn't change what time I was gonna fight because it wasn't like it would change like a fight before me or anything.
Right,
Like nothing's getting added, nothing's getting taken away before me. So whether I was co-main or main, like either way, I was gonna go out and do my thing. If I was co-main, the random main event that would have gotten added would have not showed it.
Right.
So I was ready to go either way. But being the main to finish was cool. Except I hate the after part of being main,
Yeah, I agree.
where as soon as you're done fighting, I got done doing the interview in the back, come out, like
And
everything's starting to get broken
Yep,
down. People
yep.
are starting to leave. Like barely
Yep.
got to see some of my people that came out. I'm having to get my stuff. They're like, all right, let's start
time to
getting out of
go.
here.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the part that-
One.
Great fight, now get out.
Yeah.
They were already over time.
That's one of the parts that nobody really talks about. Yeah, when you are the main event, like we've literally been in the cage and security's coming up going, you gotta leave.
Not on
Like,
this fight, but yeah,
gloves are still on. And they're like, you gotta go. And we're like, no, I need to go back to the locker room
Get my
to go
stuff.
get our stuff. Like, I mean, that's actually happened. We were like, you gotta be kidding. And then security ended up actually walking us to the locker room. And then there's like, all right, get your stuff. You gotta go. I'm like, no, I gotta cut hand wraps off. Gotta get changed.
Yeah.
Gotta,
Like
I mean, and that's where, what was it? Which UFC was it? Where it was the one dude was talking about how he got kicked.
yeah, Johnny.
Johnny Walker.
Yeah,
Johnny Walker, where he's
still-
like,
and in his pants, no shirt, and he get kicked out because he got no tickets. So it's hilarious. It's like that's you think the UFC may have dropped the ball there. So,
You know, and that's probably somebody who knows as soon as the fight's done, they're supposed to get the locker room cleared out and things of that nature. Got a little overzealous. You know,
they're like, you gotta go, and then it's a sold out arena. So where you gonna sit? You know, really.
I mean,
So,
Now, Christian, I know you came off of a pretty long layoff, not as of anything that, just because the universe just had issues during that year with PFL and
right.
all of that. Did that have,
And lefty.
lefty, did that layoff, did it add some pressure on this fight?
I've had layoffs in the past where I've fought after like year breaks, and the last time I had a break between the contender and the first fight after the contender was about a year. That one felt weird. Like I stepped in the ring and I was like, how do I do this again? Like I was just like, I got in and my mind went blank and I was just like, how do I start the fight? How do I do this? And then I got hit one good time and I was like, oh yeah, that's how. But
yeah.
no, this time I weirdly just everything felt natural, like just felt good. I felt zero like hesitation to anything, zero gap in any of my thought processes. Came out, felt good on the walkout, felt good in the cage, and got the finish pretty early.
Yeah, you seem pretty relaxed, which is cool. It was good to see.
no, like I said, the only thing that truly seemed to I don't know if we want to say catch off guard or whatever, was that the dude actually did shoot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was new
that's-
for me. That was new.
That's when I was in the crowd with my people because we sat down, and when he shot, even my Johnny, he came to train with us one time back in when we were in Orange City, and you probably don't remember him, but you folded him up. And he was telling everybody, he said it's the second he shot him, he's like, oh yeah, he fucked up.
My wrestlers thought the same thing sitting at the table. Like everyone in the audience, like on our group, was saying that as soon as they shot, they were just like, well,
Now, I'll admit though, because I mean, I watched it and he got in and I saw your hip touching the ground, which is not normal. Normally, people don't even get that deep.
okay. Part of that
And-
was just I had zero expectations of him
Right.
shooting that early in the fight.
And then when he did it again,
Yeah, the second time he caught me off guard because I was trying to let him up because I did not want to be grappling that early in the fight. I wanted to get like 2 minutes of striking in. So the first time when he went for the takedown, I swept it like wall in motion falling, and then I got up, hit him one time, and I started backing up to let him up, and then he immediately shot from his knees
Right, which was
before
actually
standing up.
a better attempt on that one.
Yeah, because I was backstepping, trying to let him up. He got deep, and I was like, well,
This is what we're doing.
yep, clearly you're not going to want to strike at all. Don't know if it was the head kick that caused that mentality or just he thought
But
right off
which
the
he
bat.
did say in the interviews early, which I'll be honest with you, I didn't think was legit.
He
When-
did
when
say
he-
in the interviews he was going to take me down, be a backpack on me all night, and finish it. But
And I'll admit, I didn't think, I thought that was some gamesmanship
Yeah, you know.
to kind of like throw people off of what the game plan was.
I don't know, because if he's ever watched a fight, I ain't had my back taken yet.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Pro, amateur, it don't matter. My back ain't been
That's
taken
what I'm
yet.
saying.
So I don't know where he got backpack from.
I would have
'cause-
been throwing it out there going, I'm gonna take him down, I'm gonna take him down, I'm gonna fake shoot, throw an overhand right, and then
But yeah, no, when he went for the takedown 2 times back to back, as soon as I got down, I was just like, all right, this is what we're doing. I'm not giving you another chance. And went armbar omoplata. He tried to run away from the omoplata and just stand up. So I ankle picked him from out the back, got on top, and then that's where it became a wrap. As soon as I got a leg hook in, he ain't getting out of my back control.
Yeah.
right,
Where he was saying he gonna be a backpack. I am a backpack. That's just
right. And then from there, once
I'm
you
one of them buckling backpacks that you got like multiple steps to take off.
once you were in charge, I mean, it was domination from that point on out.
Which is beautiful.
So now since the fight, okay, I know you had a lot of people there, Cedric, that were not just there to watch. Between both of these guys, they sold over 200 tickets live at the event.
200 VIP tickets.
200
Yeah.
VIP. Okay. And then on top of it, I know you had people all over watching it on Fight Pass.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. And then I know your phone was blowing up.
Yep. Yeah, my phone was blowing up. You know, because one thing I've learned, you know, in the fight game so far, you know, it's a roller coaster. A lot of people, you know, they're there when you're winning, and you know, when you're losing, you see who's really there. But yeah, you know, so I try not to really ride that high at all. Off of that, but I am appreciative of all the support and the people that reach out and whatnot.
Now,
And,
post fight, any surprises? Like any people that reached out to you that you didn't think would have reached out to you, or you know, or just, you know, because like I said, there was some good social media stuff that was happening off the fight.
yeah, I mean, I got tagged in a bunch of stuff. Honestly, really nothing that I didn't expect. I did hear from a lot of people, you know, congratulations and great job. You know, it was a tough fight, you know, again, you know, a lot of people thought beforehand that this wasn't a smart fight for me to take, but you know, we knew that
We knew.
Yeah.
it's gonna be a wrap.
We talked that whole 3 weeks just nonstop. That we knew what was going to go down.
Now, what about you, Christian? Post fight.
No, I mean, day after my fight is always like my favorite day.
Yeah.
Win or lose, it's my favorite day because I love seeing what people say, whether it's positive or negative.
Yeah.
Some people are funny in the negative ways. Like I've had fights before where when I lost on Contender, there was the next day people like saying that like who let this Aeropostale like
Yeah.
cashier wannabe in the
Right.
cage to fight? Like
Yeah, like I went to training yesterday, first time back with Toes, and I look at him, we lock eyes, and he's like, "You didn't get the finish though." That's the first word he said to me. I was like, he always says something that's like borderline, like it's a backhanded positive compliment,
Right,
but. He's like,
Right.
good job on the win, but you didn't get the
But you didn't
finish.
get the
though."
finish.
Yeah, but
Or
you
if you
know,
did get the
I'm pretty
finish-
hard on myself.
Like if you did get the finish, it wasn't in the first round.
Yeah,
Oh,
you know,
man.
it's always something, no matter what. So it's that cat and mouse game, you know,
Right.
constantly chasing. But yeah,
Because it's weird for me because I actually almost go into a depression about 2 or 3 days after, because it's such a high, especially both you guys winning, such a high. And then when you come down, there's nothing that fills it.
Yeah, well, I'm just
And-
telling my trainer, I'm addicted to that feeling,
Yeah.
winning.
You got that
That
that day
adrenaline.
after feeling is the best feeling. That
Right.
2 to 3 day after when you're like, well, shit, what's next? Like I ain't
Yeah.
got
Right,
anything on
yeah.
the horizon.
That's what I'm
Like,
saying.
I'm a little
then-
fat now because
and
I've been eating.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, because then now they're off to talking about other fights.
Exactly.
You're done. I mean, you worked your ass off for weeks, months. I mean, because that's the thing. I mean, they say, yeah, it's a short notice fight, but you
You've
didn't
been prepping
start
for a while.
training. You've been prepping for a while, and so you ride that super high, and then you get a couple days, and then it's on to the next fights. And now they're talking about who got the next one and this and that. And that's where I said, for myself, I almost kind of get this little depression afterwards, because it's like that high is so high. There's nothing to touch it. I mean, and then there's nothing.
Yeah.
And then you're
Yep.
like, oh,
I sat
man.
there and I was sitting there, I was relaxing, and I took that week off and just relaxing, letting everything chill out. And I'm just sitting there thinking every day, like, oh, I'm ready to get back in the gym. I'm ready to fight
Yeah.
again. When's
Yeah.
when's the next date? When's the next date?
You get
What's
all-
the next name? Keep the progression going.
yeah, you get all those
Yeah.
congratulations, and then as soon as that's done, it's just like everything's back to normal.
And then
Well, especially-
everyone's
and you
asking
just
when's
like,
the next
yeah,
when's
right,
the
the
next
next
fight?
Well, what's next? What you got next? What you got next? I was like, I don't
No,
know.
I just finished.
Well,
Yeah.
and then the funny part is, there's all that congratulations and great job, and you're like, all right, well, now I'm gonna start training for the next one, and then it goes back to crickets, and then they don't, it's still, like you said, it still comes down to who's there when the work's actually being done.
Yeah.
Well,
So
speaking of, what's the plan for next year?
2023,
2023, what's your guys' like goal or vision?
Stay healthy.
Yeah.
Be able to fight as many times.
Yeah, you had 4 fights
possible.
this
yeah, 4
year.
fights this year,
I look back, you had
three
4 fights. in
three Emmys, 1
2022.
pro. I mean,
Yep.
That was a stacked year for you.
Mhm. Yep. It was a good one. It's a great one, actually.
Yeah.
so now for you, Cedric, here's the, like, for Christian, you're pushing for UFC,
Yeah,
tagging Dana,
I'm gonna wait for the
Yeah.
call type.
yeah,
Yeah.
tagging Dana, tagging the UFC,
They're gonna call.
talking to your management, talking to the brass, things of that nature. Hopefully, this performance opens up that door. There's that chance they come back waving another carrot. Who knows? Now,
Either way, no one outside the top 20 in the UFC is even hanging with me, so
Yeah.
Right.
it doesn't matter what I got to do.
yeah,
And even those top 20 guys, there's very few that are hanging me if we hit certain areas.
Once they let them in, we're gonna break
Now-
open those doors.
now for you, Cedric, here's the big question. You just got done fighting on Jorge Masvidal's IKON on Fight Pass. Big card for a debut,
High production quality.
high production quality, worldwide coverage, not local coverage, not national coverage, worldwide coverage. Do you have expectations of what fight number 2 needs to live up to?
No, not really. Honestly, I'm gonna go with whatever opportunity that presents itself that makes sense. In order to continue progression. Again, this was a very great opportunity to have my debut with such a high quality production card. It was a blessing, an extreme
Right.
blessing in itself. But if I have other opportunities that present itself that may not be up to the same production quality, if it still makes sense, then we're gonna make it happen. But of course, I would love to be on one of those
Right.
high production quality cards. 'Cause,
Well, because
This is fun.
yeah,
also, I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there. And I mean, there is that potential chance that the next opportunity is not in the state of Florida.
yeah.
There's a chance that next opportunity is in another state,
Country.
possibly even another country.
Make sure you got your passport ready.
Christian's had opportunities on the table a couple times. They didn't end up coming through to fruition, but chances of, I mean, we've already fought out of state, and chances that we're originally there for Mexico, things of that nature, as some of the fights. You know,
Yeah,
they fell through. They didn't come to fruition, but you know, that's to me, that's what being on that card opens up is, you know, is that kind of potential. You know, because I mean, truly speaking, it was absolutely amazing. I mean, the opportunity, you know, everything else, most people never even get that opportunity. They just don't. They'll work 10 fights to get that kind of opportunity.
Any kind of final thoughts on the whole experience while we kind of wrap it up?
Which while we're doing this, I want to throw a shout out to the crew at Fusion XL, Julian Williams and all of them. Instrumental. You know, you guys
Sure.
both go down, get extra work down at Fusion with those guys. It's extended family.
for sure. Yeah, definitely shout out to the whole camp, you know.
Yeah, which again, while we're back there, Joe Penafel, Reggie, all those guys, man, it's
Yeah,
being in that locker room, to be honest, didn't feel that stressful.
I was kind of happy they put us
mean,
all together and
Yeah, that was
the
cool.
locker room. That
We
was
had
good.
high
That was-
energy in the back. We were just
Yeah.
chilling, good
Vibe.
music for the most part. Joe's got some questionable fight music. His fight.
Yeah, but it was his fight. So
It was his
yeah,
fight.
we let him take over. It's your fight. You get to be the DJ. I was sitting there like, all right, we rocking with it. You might go for it. All right, we're gonna throw the fireball. In a normal day, I'm probably looking at you like, what are you listening to, bro? But you know what?
Right.
You about to go outside and handle business, but you know, you let it rock. But you know, Joey's amazing. That guy, he's the party. For real.
Yeah.
No, it was a good time. It was a good event. Great finishes. The team, both teams, Fusion, Dark Wolf, we all showed out. We got that shit done. Finishes are just really bright performances and a great decision. Real dominant. Just it was a vibe the whole event.
Now I will throw it out there. End of your fight. Someone between the corner and the cage door is wearing half my thing of Vaseline.
No, I think that was Julian because I saw Vaseline in his hair.
No.
Yeah.
Well, because I put the dab on the back of my left hand. And so a lot of times, like when we're prepping, you'll see me, I'll put my hand up so people don't bump into it. And I know it was after when the thing was over, I'm staging, trying to get to the door to get in, you know, pretty quick. I'll be honest, I pride myself in our corner. When Christian and I are cornering, nobody beats us in the cage. We get in that cage before anybody. And I'm trying to get the athletic commission dude to kind of pick up that pace a little bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, when we came in there, like I said, I'm missing half my Vaseline, and I don't know where it went.
Definitely good. Ready to get back to it.
Mhm.
We are back to it. Back to business, back to work. We'll make it happen.
Well, thanks for sitting down with us, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was a hell of a night.
Anytime.
It's a fun one. Let's do it again sometime.
Another chapter in this series.
Yep.
Yeah.
Officially the third pro at the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You are
Solid one.
Jake.
Yep.
yep. Christian, Jacob, the
two of y'all
torpedo,
undefeated.
Toledo.
Yeah.
Me, not so much. But
You're in 10 foot.
Soon to have a fourth pro. Richard is wanting to
Richard.
yeah,
to go pro on his next one. And you know, it's kind of one of those things when we first went down this pathway and Christian was the only fighter in the gym, when literally there was like nobody. And then Carlos Barrera steps in, and then he's fighting. And then we got a few people. I think at one point in time when we started officially going under our own team and our own name, I think we went 17 wins before our first loss.
Yeah, when I first joined Dark Wolf, my only intention was for jiu-jitsu, to be honest. That was it. But then, watching the team compete, coming out to the fights, and just this is the first set of fights. I forgot who was fighting for those first set of fights, but I just remember those first set of fights I came back out to, and I was just like, yeah, I want to be fighting again. And then started training full spectrum again with you guys. And it's been great. I've gained inspiration from the team, and hopefully I can give that back as well, to others.
And I'm really enjoying that team vibe right now with the crew that's coming in, with Joseph and Alex, I mean, and Jacob Toledo,
Dewan,
Dwan,
Drew,
Drew.
the Mighty Mites.
Like I said,
Them flyweights.
Richard Anderson, the next one to potentially be making his pro debut. I mean, it's and that crew's all been solid for a decent amount of
while,
time. And the one part that I love is the amount of compliments I get from a bunch of different people, from a bunch of different fight teams and the like, that all say how our vibe is different. Our team vibe is so tight.
Yeah.
Even Richard Cox talked about when Richard's in the back after his kickboxing title, when he was going for that, and his cheekbones cut up and his eyelid, his eyebrows cut up and things of that nature, and none of the team left. All the team sitting back there. Richard goes, "This is different." I'm like, "I don't understand, Richard. What's different?" He goes, "This." He goes, "Everybody here is staying to make sure that the last man," he goes, "a lot of times if you fight early on the card and you win, sometimes they bounce, they go celebrate, things of that nature." And he goes, "Win or lose, everybody's here staying till the last man walks out the door." He goes, "That's special." He goes, "I don't see that often." And we get those comments quite a bit from a lot of different people.
All right, guys. Well, thank you guys. We appreciate it very much, taking the time to sit with us. We'll have to do it again after the next round.
Yep.
We will. Ciao.
All right.
All right,
You got
so-
any shout outs you need to do?
Yep.
Sponsors, or
How can they contact you? How can they follow you?
if somebody wants to sponsor you?
Follow me on Instagram, Show Up, Show Out. If you want to rent a luxury or exotic car, follow me on Show Up, Show Out LLC. But that's my main platform where I drive traffic.
He's got
to.
some smoking awesome cars.
Got Christian.
Monkey jujitsu, what it is. I mean, that's it. I ain't got no cards.
No.
All right, guys. Thank you.
All right, see you.
All right.